Hi, I'm Tim Armstrong from Armstrong Farm, home of Eat Your Yard Jacks, and welcome to our segment on greens, one of my favorites. So now we're in the collard patch, and collard greens can be eaten sauteed, they can be eaten raw. One of my favorites is collard wraps. Val, you make the best collard wraps. And a lot of the collard wrap is in the sauce, so you can put onions and sliced carrots and a lot of cabbages in there, and you can wrap that up. And so you use your soft leaves of your collards for the collard wraps. That's a really good way to eat collards. I've had some nice salads made with collards. And then of course a good old sauteed green is one of my favorites. Mixed within these collards, you'll see that there's some Florida broadleaf mustard, and that is actually my very favorite green. I love the mustard, easy to grow. Look at the size of that leaf. You gotta love that. So mustards can be sauteed down. They're soft leaf like a spinach and extremely nutritious for you. So let's go over and check out the cabbage and kohlrabis. It's the middle of March, so a little late in the cabbage season, but these cabbages are fixing to be processed into kimchi and kraut. And so we've got some nice heads of cabbage here. It's going to get too hot for these soon, but our cabbage and our carrots are coming in nicely in the garden now. They cook good together. Next to the cabbage, I have my kohlrabi. And kohlrabi is great because you can eat it cooked or raw. It is a nice firm flavor. It can be used in soups. It can be used, my favorite is just use it in a dip. You can saute it lightly. It's a nice crisp, firm texture and real mild taste. So it lends to any dip or soup that you would add it to. So it's a great thing to grow in the wintertime too as part of your greens. We're next to the Brussels sprouts, and you can see the log that we felled in the garden that's part of our raised bed scenario. But we're next to the Brussels sprouts, and the Brussels sprouts are just now starting to really get formed. And the Brussels sprouts, another winter crop. Great to eat. My kids love them in the oven, broiled in the oven. We put them in a bag with some toasted sesame seed oil and then broil them in the oven, and that is quite the yummy treat. You need to pop the tops out of your Brussels sprouts plants to make them quick growing tall and to put their energies into forming these nice Brussels sprouts that we want to eat. So don't forget to pop the tops out of them. Don't forget to eat those tops because they are actually one of the better things of the green too. It's real sweet green, and I love to eat it. It's a little asparagus-y tasting, so that's another wonderful thing about Brussels sprouts. All right, we're at another of my favorite greens, beet greens, and so the beet greens are wonderful baby greens put in salads, and nice wonderful red vein in them. The greens can be cooked like a spinach, and they're nice and sweet. And then of course there's nothing like good fresh beets, and you can see these beets, so you can grow gold beets, red beets, elongated beets, and they're mostly a fall, winter, early spring crop, and it is early spring now, so these will do for a while until it gets good and hot. But this is a great crop for the North Florida area. So now we are looking at one of my favorite kales. I like all kinds of kales, but this particular kale is one of the easier ones to grow. It's Italian Toscano kale or Latino kale or dinosaur kale because it has these lumpy leaves like a dinosaur skin. And it's a nice sweet kale, easy to grow. You should add it to your garden for sure. It can be eaten raw, especially in the young form like this, and added to salads. And then it also can be sauteed and made into kale chips, using any way you use regular kale. So this is chard, and chard is one of the nice easy greens to grow in your garden. I like chard because it's a lot like spinach, and spinach is a little bit more difficult to grow in the North Florida area. This particular chard that's growing in this area is rainbow chard, which is nice because you have a rainbow of colors. You've got red, you've got pink, you've got yellow, you've got white, and so it makes a nice cornucopia of colors to add to your plate. You can steam it and put it on your plate. You can use it any way you use spinach. You could make empanadas with it, but it's a nice mild green to grow. A lot of people might not like greens because they say it's not mild enough for them, but this one is. This is more like a spinach, and it's really fun to grow. All right, now we're going to talk about Russian red kale. So Russian red kale is a great one to grow. It has these nice red veins in the kale. It's a nice soft leaf and makes a wonderful addition to salads and then sautés. And you get a nice little color to it, and it has a nice fringy leaf that adds a nice element to dishes and salads. Now we're looking at giant red mustard. The red mustards are great because they have this wonderful color, and I love it because it makes the juice of the greens a nice red color. Red is supposed to be a great antioxidant color. And mustards are probably my most favorite green, although I love them all. But mustards are nice and have a little bit of spice to them, lots of intense flavor, and this is another great green to grow in your winter garden and your early spring and your fall garden. Giant red mustard. Now we're in the Rutabaga turnip patch, and these greens are great greens because they're a root crop as well as a top crop. Young leaves like this can be added to salads for a nice spicy mix in the salad. And then the roots are a wonderful crop to add to your addition. You can cook the tops and the roots together. The old timers in Florida are just crazy about these, and so a good root to top ratio is a good thing. The roots are pretty. You can chunk them up and use them in soups. You can cook them with the tops and in a mixed green. You could also slice them. The turnips next to them have taken a little bit longer to come into fruition. The green on those is a little bit milder, and then the tops haven't quite matured in yet. But they're coming along. So this is another great green that you can grow in your garden in the winter time and in the early spring and in the late fall. So these will take a fair amount of frost. We just had a nice frost this weekend. We're in the middle of March. We had one of these late frosts come in, but I haven't transitioned over to my spring crops yet because we're enjoying the bounty of all these greens. Now it's going to start getting hot over the next few weeks, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all these things down, and whatever I don't eat and share with friends we'll be putting in the freezer, so that during the summer, when we're enjoying tomatoes and squash and cucumbers and things of the summer season, I'll still have a bag of greens to pull out of the freezer once a month, or you could can them just as well. We're in the back of the garden now, and then we're in one of my perennial beds that I have devoted to Dandelion Greens. So this is the Italian dandelion, similar to what you'll see in a lot of the grocery stores that do sell Dandelion Greens. Dandelion is a particularly good spring green. It's historically been used as a spring tonic green. The leaves are a little bit more bitter than some of your more highly cultivated greens, but they're extremely good for you, and they're nice to add to a salad. They're self-pollinating, so that's always a good thing in the garden. So I never have to replant my dandelions. They do have a root that is useful as well, and if you've ever been to Café du Monde in New Orleans and had their wonderful chicory coffee, you've had dandelion's cousin. These roots can be roasted just like chicory and made into a coffee-like drink. This bed has shared the winter with another of my winter crops and that is fennel. And these fennel bulbs are wonderful, roasted, painted in some olive oil and roasted on the grill. And then my favorite thing to do with the fennel tops is to boil potatoes and make a fennel potato salad. And I love it. It adds a nice, unique flavor to your potato salad. My kids call it grass salad. But you also can use the fennels in soup, and I have been doing that a lot lately, and it really adds a unique flavor to the soup. You can slice them real thin and eat them like celery or any other green like that too. And so that's another way to use your fennel as well. So I hope you enjoy the greens at Armstrong Farm.